Okay, so for today's day card, I drew the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands identifies itself very quickly by virtue of its wandness as a card concerning our creative aspect. And as a 9, it suggests change, perhaps unexpected and sudden. Now I've included the runes down at the bottom here to help identify the situation and how we can perceive that. So we have here, the first little guy here represents a turning point. Definitely applies here. And we have at our disposal a tool here. You'll see the color purple. Now, that represents wisdom in tarot. Tarot represents wisdom with the color purple, and we get wisdom how? Well, through experience, through learning to apply the knowledge. And so we already have something at our disposal. Now, these other two runes give us an idea as to what we have to do. Let me tell you what this means. This middle one represents a change or a relocation, a journey, something we can associate with progress, maybe not free from challenge or difficulty, but overall a good thing. And here on the end, this also applies to a turning point. We have disruption. We have the feeling of a sudden loss and maybe even suffering. That tells us we have an option as to how we perceive things. We get to decide. And that will help us to determine the direction we move in, if we move in one at all. If we choose the negative, we may just grow stagnant, stationary, thinking about whether we should even bother. And if we choose the other, we continue to move. So let's just choose the positive and see what we can learn from the corresponding 9-based cards from the Major Arcana. The Hermit also has a lot of wisdom. We see mostly shades of purple, don't we? We also know, probably, based on our previous experiences, where to look for what we need. Not outside ourselves. The guiding light refers to something inside. You know yourself, you know what you've been through, and you know what you can handle. You've probably even surprised yourself in times past with what you've gotten through, and that's only strengthened you. Was it uncomfortable? Absolutely. Was it worthwhile? Without hesitation. It was. Discomfort. We can't let it stop us. That brings me to the sun. Now, the sun illuminates. It warms us. It allows things to grow. In an archetypal and internal sense, that can hold true. Now, I want to show you something here. I speak as an authority. Look at this complexion here, all right? I speak as an authority on the pain that the sun can inflict. Believe it or not, in the summertime, if I have to spend any time in traffic, this side gets burned and this side doesn't, just from being in the car in the direct sunlight. I know that in a literal sense, the sun can hurt. It can get uncomfortable. And in a figurative sense as well, perhaps even more so. You can put aloe on a burn, but when you start to burn inside, when you start to have to face some things that cause you discomfort, harder to relieve those, right? So, you may find it helpful as you face this change and embrace the progress you'll make to look at some past experiences that show that you know what to do. You've been through this. I mean, even recently, what brought you to this position? Well, you were in a comfortable position, perhaps a little disorganized, maybe a little chaotic, but you've had experience, right? And an awareness of your potential that brought to your attention. You were reminded of your capabilities by something that decided it was time for a change. And so you find yourself here. That was what led to this. But in times past, I would dare say you've also been in a comfortable, stable position. Perhaps one that, while not bad, certainly wasn't helpful to your progress. So you moved out of that box into something less certain, into something less comfortable, out into the elements, and you progressed. And you come to another situation that you absolutely can get through because you've gotten through them before, and your higher self, your daemon, won't bring you to something that you can't handle. Won't happen. As a wise initiate that I know once said, you always are where you need to be for your development. That doesn't mean things were pre-planned, doesn't mean things were foreordained, but it does mean that right now, in this situation, as uncomfortable as it may feel, you have what you need, and you will get something from it. You just have to let yourself pick the progressive, productive perception, and you will move forward. Folks, this relates in some ways to what I've said over the past few days. I encourage you, I implore you to look at the videos from the last 2 days. It'll take a little bit of your time, a little extra time, but it'll give some extra context to what I've just said, and it will also help you to move through the month of February, and that'll all make a little more sense when you check out those other videos that we've done over the last 2 days. Some closing thoughts. As always, please leave comments, questions, suggestions, and observations. If this spoke to you, please let me know, and let me know how and why. I love hearing those kinds of reports. Make sure to subscribe. That way you get notification of updates. Because my Facebook and Instagram groups also get updated more frequently than the YouTube channel for now. Make sure to follow me on those. You'll get updates daily and opportunities to look at my material and interact with me on those fronts. Finally, have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay productive, and keep transforming. Until next time.